Hey, this is Shane,
And this is Keith.
and we are Seekers of the.
Unknown. Welcome to the very first episode of Seekers of the Unknown.
Yeah, finally.
I
We get
know
to.
we've been planning this for quite some time now. So once
Um,
once I found out that we were both into aliens, UFOs, and the like, we're like, yeah, let's do a podcast. We're like, yeah,
and it's hard because you don't want to like just be like, hey, I'm into aliens or something because you don't know if people are gonna be like, this dude's weird or like. So it's like a proceed with
yeah. It's kind
caution.
of hard to break the ice with that. You kind of like throw little subtle hints at the other person and see if they pick up on it. Um, Believe it or not, a lot of my friends are, in fact, into this kind of stuff. So I'm sure they will enjoy the content that we provide, hopefully.
Same, and it's weird because like um I just started my new job, but at my last job, one of my coworkers, at first you're like, I don't want to say I'm into this stuff, and like it was at a time where I was just in a rabbit hole of like missing 411 and like all this stuff.
Hmm.
And my coworker ended up being like, hey, I'm into this stuff too, check this out. And I mean, there's like a 25-year age difference. He was a lot older than me, but it was crazy to like once you make that connection,
It's weird. It's kind of like an energy you can kind of sense in the person. You're like, all right, let's go for it.
yo yo and yeah, I don't know, I don't really know when I got into it. Maybe it was more of like a just curious about it in like a scared way at first, but I was really young, so
Yeah, I would say for me, it's like just I've always been interested in like all kinds of things. I grew up super Christian and obviously like went to church and stuff like that. And I've always been into like um, Greek mythology and just
yo
like all kinds of just things of different stories and lores and like mysterious things and stuff like that.
hmm
Um, so
that was like I had this weird fascination with like yeah UFOs and spaceships and space, and it's got to be other things out there. And like you said, I grew up, I went to church every Sunday and I did all that, and like that side of like the spirits and playing with religion, that was a thing I couldn't get into. That was stuff I was taught not to touch. But I don't know, I just had this weird fascination with space and what came with it. uh,
yeah, honestly, and a big thing for me, it might sound kind of funny, but I was listening to I think I told you this too, listening to Jedi Mind Tricks,
yeah.
the rap group, and their first album touches a lot of aliens and space and like ancient Egypt and like all that stuff, and that really set it off for me. Um, Reading along to the lyrics to a lot of those songs,
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, I took the deep dive like shortly after that, and here I am.
Yeah, I think that's actually how we discovered we're both into the same things, because you said you listened to them, I listened to them, and from there, yeah, it kind of just spiraled into all this stuff. But for me, it was just fascinating how you could have Egyptians and Mayans and Buddhists and different cultures all over the world, and they all told the same story of like seeing the same stuff and in that same time period. And it was, to me, it was crazy.
Yeah, it's like too coincidental, but
Mm-hmm.
it's cool. You
Yep.
don't have to believe 100% all the things we talk about. I'm not sure if I believe it 100%, but it's fun to to the what ifs and you know possibilities of things that could be real, could not be real.
Yep.
So
Yep.
here we are. Um, we'll probably touch on all kinds of things in the future. I know we want to talk about the alien races that probably are most known to like most people. Abductions, even into like weird stuff like like dream states and
Yep.
like astral realms and astral projection and remote viewing and stuff like that. I'm super into that. Different like energies and chakras and dimensions and all. I love like just that whole just realm of things. I think they're all connected or can be connected, so it's fun to like try to connect the dots
Mm-hmm.
with that stuff too.
Yep. And like consciousness and everything. And
Oh yeah.
yep. I mean, Stephen Greer does that thing with consciousness and like meditation and being able to connect with what he believes is extraterrestrials and all
Oh
that.
yeah,
And it's just,
channeling.
yeah,
Yeah,
channeling. And
channeling.
it's crazy to think like, do we really have that much power that we can do that? And
I believe that like the mind is very very powerful, but it's just so hard, and I'm like part of this, but like we're just so easily distracted nowadays by everything, especially me. Like I've tried meditating so many times, and I've gone like weeks where like I will start, like doing it regularly, and then my mind just wanders off, and I forget about it, and it is really, really, really hard to just focus
yeah.
on one thing or nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I've tried, but I will say, I mean, and we can get into this like way later on, but once I got into dream stuff and meditation, a lot of weird things started happening to me. Some kind of scary, some not. So I really believe like just entry level stuff can get results right away. Um, and I don't know if that's just like a placebo thing, like me just making it happen, but that's part of it too. You know what I mean? You're manifesting things.
Right. I mean, I've had dreams or I've like been in a scenario like, like deja vu where like, has this happened before? But even like certain dreams, I'm like I've been to that place or like I've been to a place and I'm like, I've never been here before, but I've been here before. Like,
Hmm.
I've dreamed it or I'll have reoccurring dreams. Like I have that UFO dream, where I can take you right to the intersection in Ludlow and I see this
That's
cigar
sick.
shaped UFO and I've had that dream
We should go there
multiple
sometime.
times and it's weird. It's the same exact dream, but yeah, I definitely think there's you know
I think just like focusing your attention on it draws attention to you. You know what I mean? Like you're like that world. It's just like when you think about something, you're kind of manifesting it to, you know, appear around you more.
right, or you're
For me,
more
not,
aware.
yeah, not for me to the point that I've seen any UFOs because I haven't. I've been wanting to for so many years now, but
I've never seen, but I've maybe it's because I look too hard to like see where they are.
yeah.
But
Deja vu though, like I get it so much that it's like kind of annoying at this point. I'll be like at work or like at a like I play in a band, so I go to like a lot of like rock, punk rock, hardcore shows. Um, and I'll just stand there staring. I'm like, yo, this happened before. Like, this is weird. Like you just said the same thing to me before. I know this happened. Like
oh yeah,
it is
yep.
so hard to really explain it. But I mean, that's deja vu. Um, I kind of hate it, to be honest.
Or you almost like what's gonna happen before it happens, but it's not like a long time before. It's like for me, I've either been watching something and knew what was gonna happen when I've never seen it, or been somewhere and watched something happen. And it's like maybe a few seconds, but it's just enough for me to acknowledge like, oh, this is gonna happen, and it happens. It's,
I don't know if this is deja vu, but I've definitely been in like the car with my friends, and I'll be thinking of a song, just like I don't know, maybe because like we heard it earlier that day or something. But I'll be thinking of a song, and then my friend will start singing it right, literally seconds before I start to say it, and it's like, yo, that's crazy. Like
that's
I
crazy.
don't know if that's considered deja vu, but that's happened a number of times as well. Or my coworker, um, we all have like little walkie talkies at my job where we talk, communicate, and will say something and she'll get ready to respond, but I'll respond and say the same exact thing that she was going to say. And she's like, "Are you my twin?" Like, this happens all the time. So,
I know, like, well, it's my wife, so we're together all the time, but we'll be thinking the same exact thing, even as far as like planning the day or what we're gonna have for a meal or how we're gonna do something. I mean, got 3 kids, so going anywhere is you got to plan it anyways. But it's weird. It's almost like that's exactly like what I was gonna say or do, and find it hard to believe it's just a coincidence that often. Like it happens.
it's a glitch in the matrix, right? Isn't that one of the explanations for deja vu? Oh, that'll be a good episode to talk about in the future too. We can talk about the whole concept of like living in a simulation,
Absolutely, yep.
because there's no way to really disprove it,
Right,
from what I know.
right,
So,
and all those, all that's a rabbit hole you can just go on forever. All the videos of proving like this is why or this is. I
mhm.
mean, even Elon Musk does a thing on it. That's crazy.
Yeah, I love the Matrix. So whenever somebody like is like, "Oh, I don't really like the Matrix," I'm just like, "What's wrong with you?" I think it's such a sick like
Hmm.
concept
I want
story.
to see the newest one where he like
Do
even
you?
thinks it's a dream.
Yeah, yeah. There's mixed reviews on it. I watched it. Like, I'm not really critical if it's something that's like entertaining to me, has a lot of action and like is cool and has like a cool story. I'm not that critical, so I thought it was fine, but most of my friends hated it. Everybody, I don't think I know a single person that liked it, but
Wow.
I thought it was fine. So, yeah, you should see
Speaking
it.
of speaking of movies and reviews, we went and saw the movie Nope,
Nope.
and maybe that'll be a section where we do like really deep dive movie reviews, but it definitely was not what we expected.
Nope.
And
Pun intended.
yeah,
Nope.
I guess not
It was a cool movie though.
really. Yeah, it was, the concept was cool. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to do a spoiler alert,
Yeah, I don't want to
but
spoil first episode, but you should go see it. I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you've seen it or plan on seeing it, just because it has to do with UFOs.
and maybe, if this takes off and you know everybody enjoys it, we'll throw a email address in our bio or whatnot and send us what you think.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, definitely.
Questions, stories,
Yeah, I'm
what
sure
you
like
want us to talk about.
we'll end up having like emails, probably some kind of social media, Reddit or whatever. All that fun stuff.
If you think, our review of something was garbage, let us know.
Yeah, I know people are gonna be ragging on me all the time just because I'm like, oh yeah, it was fine. Like it takes a lot for me to not like something, I guess. Um, with movies or like music or anything. So I'm sure you guys will have fun with that in the future. So
Yeah, I mean, um, I'm excited to see where this goes.
yeah, this is kind of a test pilot episode. I mean, it's not a test. We did a test before this, and it was pretty
This
cool.
is like test 2.
Yeah, test number 2. Quick shout outs, couple shout outs. Sean Pryor, my friend, who designed the logo,
Absolutely.
which is freaking awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Star David Merkaba, oh yeah, that sacred geometry type of stuff, which we'll also be tapping into later on. This is just more of like a general episode where we like just we just kind of ramble about things and then kind of plan out, at least like on the go or in our heads, like possibilities for different episodes and stuff like that.
And I'm really into space and planets and things like that. So maybe we do a news segment on, I don't know, space news. I think it's
Yeah,
just as important as, well, maybe
yeah.
not
There's
as important, but
that really fancy telescope they just sent out, sending all kinds of
you
cool
know,
pictures. So that'll be cool.
uh,
But yeah, thanks Sean for the logo, and also thanks Sean Nyland 2 Sean's for the little intro music. Um, I'm like, yeah, send me something synthy and eerie, and he sent me that, and
Perfect.
it was like on the button. So
Perfect.
thank you, Sean, and thank you, Sean.
That
You
was
both
the
rock.
first thing we did. Programmed it onto our board. So
Sean Pryor, the logo guy, we'll definitely have him on the episode, on the episodes in the future, because that man has a lot of stories to tell. He's very talented. He does like a Instagram kind of page on different aliens, and he'll draw it, the alien, and do a backstory of the origin of the alien species, which is pretty cool. And he also sent me like a comic kind of depicting a story of his, which I don't want to spoil um, until the time that we have him on the episode. But are you pulling up his page?
yeah,
So we're gonna pull up his page so you can shoot his alien um, thing. It's at Open Sky Project on Instagram, and if you're into this kind of stuff that we're talking about on this podcast, you're gonna flip your lid when you go onto this Instagram page, because it's awesome.
it's wild.
It's incredible. He touches so many different aliens, even in like pop culture, uh, you know, standard, aliens that are talked about in abductions, Men in Black, like all of that stuff that we're all gonna talk about.
Different types.
Pretty good drawings too. We're
yeah.
scrolling through right now, just kind of looking at it.
Different types, different places. Scenic views of like UFO sightings, but it's all illustrated. It's awesome.
Oh, he does a bunch of cryptids too. I forgot about that. So it's not just like UFOs, but also like a bunch of cryptids and their origins.
Definitely check it out. It's excellent.
So there's that. What to talk about?
We definitely want to have people come on to the episode.
I already have a list of people.
Talk about we'll pick different topics to talk about. If anybody has stories, things like that, just anything unknown, anything different, any sightings, things like that. Into it all, want to explore it, want to check it out.
Definitely, if you have any like areas by where you live that's like kind of like faint or infamous or notable for like some kind of paranormal type thing, let us know. I know we're from Massachusetts, and there's all kinds of different places in the New England area that are kind of cool. Want to check out Bridgewater Triangle. It's like a big one.
I know. I mean, there's supposedly sightings all over, Berkshire area.
Yeah, the Berkshires,
Western Massachusetts.
yeah, Great Barrington, stuff like that. New Hampshire, there's the whole like the Betty and Barney Hill abduction. Forgot exactly the town, but I've stopped there before for gas. Didn't even realize it was the town. And we got gas. We were in the White Mountains doing some like nature stuff, and I'm like, oh snap, this is it. My friend had no idea. I was like, this is like the very first documented abduction like happened here, like in this town, or at least the people were from that town. And so I definitely I keep telling Shane, I'm like, we have to go there. Like,
absolutely. And like even, I mean, not even UFOs or aliens, but like I remember a couple years back, I went with my dad to the Sportsman show, actually at the Big E in West Springfield, and there was a group there because you could set up a booth for Bigfoot hunters in like the Berkshires and like the New York border and stuff, and they were, they were convinced they saw them, they had proof, whatever. I'd even like to explore that. I know they have some sort of thing out that way, just to even check it out.
That would be cool. I was just talking to somebody about their dad being super into like Bigfoot and like having every single like book and yeah, but the person was not very like into that stuff, but his dad was. So It's funny you mentioned that. I'm trying to remember who it was, but yeah, that's a whole different um, subject we can get into because
Oh,
there's so many theories on Bigfoot, on interdimensional,
being a
skinwalker,
skinwalker.
missing link type of thing,
Yup.
like alien. Because they're like usually where there's Bigfoot sightings, there's like UFO sightings.
Yeah.
So like, who knows? You know,
But yeah,
I could be Bigfoot for all you guys know. You know, skinwalkers scare me. Like, I don't know why, but they do.
they're like,
I mean, I know why. Like, they're scary. But
yeah, to me, they can be anything. They can shift into anything.
honestly, it's kind of cool. Kind of wish I was a skinwalker, or what is it, skinwalker, shapeshifter.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Yep.
Usually, there's a lot of like negative, like evil connotation to them, though. So, like, I don't know the deal.
Almost like, to me, almost like demon-like.
Yeah,
Like
I've never heard of like a good skinwalker. Like, yeah, like he saved this cat from the tree. You know,
putting holes in the sides of all of them.
Yeah, it's always like cursing people or like eating people or like I don't know.
And that even goes back into like the Native Americans and
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
you know,
they're very spiritual and in tune with like energies and nature and stuff. So
there's a book I was reading. Won't really get into it now, maybe in another episode. But there's a part where guy was talking about how like when they would do meditation at like his what do you want to call it, like counseling sessions or whatever, his therapist session, that he could go back to being like a medicine man in a Native American tribe, and like when they would go off into the woods to become like men, it was actually them meeting up with like aliens and stuff and learning all of that from them. And like it's crazy. It all ties in with like skinwalkers in the woods, and
yeah,
it's weird how it all
just like ancient aliens like kind of helping, having their hand in evolution of humanity and technology and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. But yeah, but at the same time, they definitely took all kinds of like psychedelics and stuff too. So who knows?
Yeah,
I know. Like in other podcasts, there's always like that one skeptical guy. That's not me. I'm usually pretty on board and like, for real, like pretty gullible. But I take everything like I don't take everything like to heart. I guess like it's all for me. It's just like very interesting. I don't really know what I believe like in terms of just what's out there. I 1,000,000% believe that aliens are real, for sure.
Absolutely. We can't be just, if space is forever, and well, we don't really know, but there is no way we can be the only living creatures on a floating piece of rock out in the middle of space and time.
Dude, and there's so many freaking galaxies and planets and habitable planets. It's just insane. I forgot what it's called when the planet's in that like sweet spot to have life. There's like a word for it.
Off the top of my head, I can't.
There's just so many of them. It's just like it's insane. And then people are like, "Yeah, but how do they get here?" And it's like, I mean, you see how fast technology is growing now. Like, imagine this times like 1,000 years or 2,000 years more, because it's pretty insane right now with technology. And then like if the whole wormhole thing is really like real, where like you can kind of bend space and then go from point A to point B by bending it like in half. I mean, who knows? Like if that's a thing, then traveling light years quickly is definitely a possibility as well.
Well, I had heard this saying a long time ago. Well, not a long, a while back, about how like we don't really know, are we leading technology, or are there civilizations that are so farther advanced from us, farther out, that we're actually behind in all our technology? And that would maybe throw your mind towards like, well, maybe that's why they can get here that quick and they can travel that fast. Maybe we're behind.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. And if we are behind, if they're like way, way, way advanced, they could just see us as like, oh, they're like little animals. Like we don't really we can study them from like from our methods. We don't have to really interact or anything like that. You know what I mean? And we don't have to share because let's be real, humanity is not on the right path as of late. You know, if I was a highly advanced alien species and I saw like I don't know another planet or like my neighbors down the street and they're all just like destructive and just causing havoc and not on the right path, I would be like, yeah, I'm all set. And like I'll look with binoculars and
They can't even take care of themselves.
yeah.
I don't think we have to worry about them.
But there's also theories that they're here now. They've been here intermingling. It's like I said, there's just so many possibilities.
There's yeah, and anything that's unknown and unanswered. There's an answer somewhere, and
The truth is out there. We should have had a little
Yeah.
sample for the X-Files music. I don't know if that's like something we get in trouble for, but
we'll find out. But like even everybody's theories on the pyramids, I think I've seen 1,000 different ways on how they're built, from aliens helping to I saw one recently where the Egyptians built like a
like an assembly line thing.
a channel of water where they could put the stone into it and lift it with the water. They had like logs and everything under it, so it'd be buoyant, and it would actually.
Yeah, but how do they lift it high though? Like,
so they would fill like the chamber with water, and they had like a platform. They would slide it onto the platform. Then they would build another channel and fill that with water. But then where are they getting all the water?
yeah, I was gonna say, was it like lush lands back then in that area, or was it still desert?
Apparently, it was still desert. So, is that any less plausible than another civilization helping us build it?
My favorite theory with that is like using like vibration frequency like technology. I love that stuff. I mean, it kind of makes me want to get into like physics and stuff, but like that's way too much school. But just like using a tool to like change the frequency of an object to like
Yep.
to change its like density and like weight and just make it like easier. Like there's this like guy I think in Florida that had like this thing in his backyard called the Coral Castle, and he stacked all these like crazy stones, and apparently did it overnight so people couldn't see him, and like apparently some kid snuck in to see how he did it because they're just like stone like a single man cannot do this, like with the way he did it, and apparently the kid said he saw him like tap it with like this tuning fork thing, and it made it as light as a feather, and he just picked it up and like do that. So
that's wild.
If that kind of technology is possible, I think that's sick.
Yep.
But that's a theory of like at least one I remember watching or reading on about the pyramids, how they like lift heavy stone. They use like technology to make all of the stones like very light.
Who knows? Even like magnetism.
Yeah,
like
electric.
Yeah, and being able to push it. I've seen they have the bullet trains that run on.
Yeah. Get the really advanced ones like from Black Panther from Wakanda when they're just. That can be another episode. Is Wakanda real? No, it's definitely not. Can you imagine? There's just like this crazy, highly advanced, like Atlantis type, or we could talk about Atlantis too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that Atlantis was like super advanced and stuff like that. But if something like Wakanda was real, that would be wild. I think Atlantis was real. I think that would be cool.
I mean, who knows? They say that they've seen, swimming aliens in Antarctica and everything else. So, who knows at this point? It could be, underwater UFOs and everything else.
Yeah, I think there's so many like places that they said Atlantis could be. They're like, oh, it was there. No, it was there. No, it was there. So it's like, who knows? And then I know there's like Lemuria and like Mu.
And they said they saw like a brick road out past Hawaii, out in that direction. So, I mean, it's plausible. Anything is really plausible.
lots of islands sink and rise and sink and stuff. So who knows?
But we'll figure that out in an episode to come.
Oh yeah.
All right, so if that got a little weird for a second, we realized that we could only record for 30 minutes, and we looked down and we were trying to read that
On the
it
red
was
browser.
it was about to shut off as we were trying to stay on topic. So that got a little weird. We're still learning, but hopefully you guys are still with us. And
Yeah, that's kind of like the purpose of this episode. You know, we're just figuring things out. You know, kind of rambling a little bit about different subjects. That's why we've kind of been jumping all over the place in terms of subjects. But it's just to give you a taste of like all the kinds of things that we're both interested in and we plan on talking about. You know.
and some of it might just be rambling and nonsense, but just trying to touch on everything and just keep it more just conversation and see where it goes.
Yeah, keep it as natural as possible. You know.
It's a lot harder than you think, actually.
Yeah. There's moments where I'm like, oh man, what should we talk about? Like, but I think we're doing a good job. Yeah.
We're thinking weekly, do something weekly. I know
Yeah, I'm down.
you do your tours and everything with your band, and it might be a little bit of a challenge, but we're trying to figure out how we can still record and still do this and still have the podcast. And
Yeah, if there's a will, there's a way. But that would be cool to do this weekly or as close to weekly as possible. I'm definitely down.
yeah, I'm now we got the setup and everything seems to be working good. I'm down.
The Area 51 cave.
Yes. Alien or UFO documentaries in the background every time.
Oh yeah, you got to set the mood.
But hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we hope that this takes off, and we just want to run with it and see where it goes.
Yeah. Are we gonna have like I don't know if we're gonna have an email or something in the description, but if not now, then in the future we'll have ways of like you guys to share feedback and suggestions and all of that stuff too. Yeah.
Definitely. And don't forget to check out the art and everything.
Oh yeah, Sean Pryor.
From Sean and
Open Sky Project on Instagram. And thanks for listening.
Yes. And we're Seekers of the Unknown, episode 1.
Of the Unknown.
And all right, catch you guys later.